What's up, everybody? So we're doing another interview today. I got Keely, Michael, Eli, and myself, Isaiah. Um, but today I'm going to be talking about a book that I just finished writing. This is my book. It's called Storm Money. You can get it on Amazon now. You can either get this or you can get the Kindle book on there. The Kindle book is a couple dollars cheaper. But with this book, let me show the cameras here. And we'll zoom in. And this is like a paperback copy of just what it looks like. I think the book ended up turning out to be about 136 pages or something like that. But with it, there's a lot of information in this book. There's a lot of things that I do want to talk about, definitely. All this stuff that you find in this book today. I'll just summarize on a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. I'll try to go in a little bit of chronological order from, just give a little brief rundown on kind of how the story goes. Pretty much what we talked about in this book, if you haven't seen any of the interviews or anything like that, but it's just a story about how we went down to Texas in 2017. A couple of myself and a couple of buddies from my town, some of my buddies' older brothers, we all went down there to go help clean up Hurricane Harvey. With that, it's just an encompassment of all the stories that we went through. There is some stories that I left out that I will talk about today too. Some of the stories that I left out, anything that I did leave out in this story, it was left out on purpose. With this book, there is a couple other things that I plan on doing with this series. There's another book coming out at the end of this if you haven't finished the book already. I am writing another book right now about our second storm that we went to directly after Hurricane Harvey. We went to Florida right after that. So a lot of the stories in here are also going to have a lot of those characters in there too. But with this story, it's definitely an interesting story. I've gotten some feedback on it with that, and I've heard a lot of different things from it. Some people I've heard good things, some people I've heard bad things about it. Pretty much today, I just want to talk about some of the stories throughout there. But yeah, I want to say thank you again to Keely, Michael, Eli, everybody in here that helps bring this whole project and everything together too. Sorry? You could buy the book on Amazon. You could buy the book on Amazon here. With that, you could also find a link inside of my bio, or you could find a link on any of my social medias. I'll also have a link there right in my profile of the book there for you too. So the book's been out for about 2 weeks now, and it's about a good time to start talking about some of the things that happened throughout the book, some opinions, some things that some people might be a little bit confused about in the book, and do as much as we can of that today. With that story of us going down to Hurricane Harvey, and the way that I wrote the book, and I say this at the beginning, and I'm going to say it again right now, this book wasn't made to attack anybody or to harm anybody or make anybody feel any type of way. These are true events, so if however you feel about it is however you feel about it. It's the truth. I'm not trying to portray anybody in any more of a positive light or any more of a negative light than I truly see them in this book. So with that, there is some stories that some people wanted to talk about. Basically, I'll just start from the beginning. So first, I'm at college. I'm 19 years old. I'm working at a bar as a busser. A couple of my buddies are working at the bar too. I just left college. After my freshman year, I dropped out. I didn't know too much of what I was going to do. I knew I was going to end up doing something with music, trying to stay home, trying to make some money. I had an apartment with a couple of my old teammates up in in Belmont, and we were splitting it, 4 of us, and we were staying there, and I was just trying to figure out the next chapter of my life, kind of what I would do next. As I'm working there, as I'm getting ready for work one day, I get a call from my buddy, one of my childhood friends that I've known for a long time, gives me a call, and he says, we have this opportunity. My brother, he's going down to the storm. They're going to go make a ton of money. It's going to be Good chance for you to make some money, get out of town, try to learn something new. And if you do good, you'll have an opportunity when you get home to work with the company. So I left. That was good enough news for me already. I told everybody at my job, I let my bosses know, that I'd be heading out towards Texas. He said we had about a couple days to head out. I think that day that he called me was a Thursday, and we were heading out on like a Tuesday. So I only had a couple days to get everything in order. Packed everything up, and we ended up meeting at my new boss's house. As we get there, see some people that I know. Some of these people I've met over the years. Some of them are friends of older brothers. Some people, I've never met in my life. Some of them are older guys. We had guys ranging from, I think I was the youngest. I was definitely the youngest guy in the crew. I was 19. And then our rest of our guys were upwards to 70 years old, 80 years old guys. But most of our guys were pretty young, under their 20s, 30s. And we're just really trying to get out, look to a way to get some money. So we all said, let's just do this for a couple, see how long it goes. First we thought it was going to be a couple weeks. Then we heard it was going to be a couple months. And then we heard it might be a couple days. We had no idea how long we'd be down there. We had no idea what jobs they had down there. And as we got to my boss's house, my now boss's house, we're sitting in the driveway and we're all discussing kind of what the next move kind of is. We load up everything and then we head down towards Texas. But even then, we had no idea of how many jobs we'd have, how long we'd be down there, or how long any of that stuff would last. So we went down there. Me, my best friend's oldest brother, his name is Nico. I was riding with him, and we were riding with another guy named Jason. I talk about him in the book a lot too. But we rode all the way down to Texas from Chicago. We rode pretty much in a fleet. We had about all 8 of our trucks. We all rode out together. We drove through the night, and that morning we ended up in Texas. We ended up in a town called Kingston. I don't know if I talk about that in the book, but it's a town called Kingston. It's a little bit outside of Houston, probably 15, 20 minutes outside of Houston, like a middle, upper-class suburb. And we got to work at a house. As we're pulling in to the state, we stopped at a gas station just right outside of Texas before we got into the state, before anything. We get into the gas station, and as we're there, we see like 50 trucks, all these cars surrounding the gas station and piles leading out into the road. And we're trying to figure out like what's going on and why is there so many people at this gas station. As we go around, we start talking to people more. Everybody's evacuating town. They're either coming up towards out of state or they're going towards a family member's house or something like that. But nobody was going in the direction that we were headed down towards. The only other people that were headed down in that direction were service companies. Like, you'd see like a couple lineman companies or something like that, but there was no other companies or anything, nobody else going down that road. And I was just thinking to myself, if it's that bad now, then it's got to be, if it's going to be even worse when we get down there. So we get down there, and immediately what you're kind of facing is, the first thing that we noticed was the smell, really. When you get down in a hurricane, all that stuff from underneath the sewers, everything from the streets, the trash, everything from inside of people's houses, all that stuff gets brewed into this flood water. And the flood water is just one of the most egregious smells you'll ever smell in your life. It's awful. And I talk about in the book how we went down there, and when we first started smelling it in the car, we all had to pull up our shirts and try to breathe through it because it was just the putrid smell. What it is, it's just a mix of all the sewage and septic and stuff like that, and it just gets spewed all over the street. And in Texas, it's normally dry down there, so all that heat it's just evaporating all day, so you're just wafting that stuff in all day. After a while, that stuff starts to stick to your pores. You start to smell it all day. Like, as you sweat, it starts to seep into your clothing, all that stuff. And that was the first thing that we noticed when we got down there. As we're driving through the town, we were noticing it's getting worse and worse. As we're driving, first we're going through the highway. It's not too bad. We hop off the highway, and then we go into the town. And there's really not that many people there, surprisingly. It looked like it was the middle of the day, and there looked like there wasn't that many people there at all. Um, Everybody that was there, they had no looting signs on doors. They had people walking around gas stations with shotguns. Um, they had just everything was all over the place. And part of what I talk about too in the book, is that, after, if I just couldn't imagine that type of destruction like ever happening to anywhere, any type of city. Just imagine like your neighborhood, and then just imagine everything destroyed and everybody's gone. So it's a weird kind of setting to be in. With that too, it's also kind of it's not just weird, but it's also it takes you out of your element. Whatever you were at home, however your personality was at home, you realize you're kind of in a different situation. Your awareness gets a little bit heightened. You start to get a little bit more anxiety. You just start to like pay attention to things that you would never pay attention to because you're seeing things that you're never used to seeing. With that too, another reason why this book is so interesting is because we're really one of the last people that are actually able to do this. With a lot of the new laws in Florida, Texas, Louisiana, they don't even allow outside contractors to come out of state anymore, just because they've had so many problems with scammers and so many problems with different issues in the past, that there's no longer outside crews unless you're approved through through the government. You have to be approved. I forgot what the actual agency is to go down there and work down there as a licensed contractor. So a lot of the times, this is one of the last times you'll actually hear about one of these stories, because outside contractors won't be going down to these storms. It's going to be handled by the same crews of people all the time. So with that, it's super interesting because, down there, it's just a completely different environment. You're dealing with all these different types of personalities, all these different types of people that, you may have never met before as well. And you're also all bunked together. You're all living together. You're all working together all day. So you see the best and the worst sides of human nature. And that's part of the one big theme in this book is human nature. That's why the themes I discuss, fear, awareness. It's another one, just always being attentive, just making sure that, discipline, all these different things that I talk about in this story are all traits or ideas and things that I've polished up upon using different scientists and psychiatrists and books I've read to all somehow relate to this story. Some of the analogies are a little bit long. I've heard that. I've gotten that. I promise in the next one they won't be that long. One of the reasons I put it out there to be as long as they are is to try to make more sense to other audiences about my experience. Not, I don't want to just be coming from one place. I wanted it to also be an encompassment of everything I had to experience, because I didn't have any help with dealing with anything after this. I didn't have any therapy. I didn't have anybody really to even talk to about it. Nobody really understood like the full experience of what everything happens down there. You tell your family about an experience like this, and you either get met with like, good job, like you guys did a good thing down there, but no one really understands the stories of things that happen down there and the complexities of emotions and just the chaoticness of the hysteria of everything that happened down there. So this book is a great encompassment of all those things. It'll tell you about everything about how to survive in a storm in the event that you do get caught in a storm. A lot of those analogies I use are so the reader can kind of put themselves in that situation as well. But with that, I think at the end of this day with the book that did a pretty good job with not blasting certain people as hard as they should have been, I guess you could say. I tried my hardest, like I said, not to make it about any personal feelings or vendettas or anything like that about anybody there or any issues I personally had with anybody. But I really hope that people understand the themes. They hear the story. They're entertained by the story. I just hope that, if you don't enjoy, the story itself, at least you still have some knowledge thrown in there with the analogies to help you kind of at least get some information out of spending your time reading. I know some people don't like to read. I know some people aren't fans of it, but at the end of the day, you're still getting some kind of knowledge out of this that I'm sure there is something in this book that can help you in your life in some way. With that too, I'm not anybody licensed or anything like that. I'm not a professional. I'm not anything like that at all. I'm just a person who had a story and I wanted to write it, and I want to do it to the best of my ability. And so I try to read as many titles as I can with nonfiction authors, like I said, scientists, doctors, every single person I could possibly think of. There's an analogy from CIA, FBI, all these different types of people, all these different divisions of respectable positions in society. And I wanted to kind of cross-analyze some of their information with some of my experience, and that's kind of what you get at the end of this. With that, too, a lot of the guys in this book here are still around. Everybody in this book is still alive, from what I know for the most part. I haven't talked to mostly everyone inside of the book in a long time. Some of the guys hit me up after the book was written. They saw it came out. They loved it. They said they wanted to hear it. They want to hear more about it. But yeah, so a lot of it it's not just an encompassment of what I experienced too. It's also the feelings of, other people that I was with as well. I wasn't the only person feeling these things too. A lot of the guys that you're with down there, you kind of grow to have like this group unit kind of mind to where everybody thinks similarly. And my book, I feel like, is not just an encompassment of my feelings, but it's also an encompassment of the guys I was with and experienced those things with too. So some of their voices are definitely heard in this book here as well too. But yeah, just excited for it to be out. Excited to have everything out. Honestly, it's kind of weird for me to talk about a book that I already finished because the continuity I get in my life, the happiness I get in my life is from writing. So I'm already working on another title, and that's where my mind is at. But I understand it's important to market, your work of what you've done in the past as well too. And like I said, it just came out a couple weeks ago. But you guys should check it out. It's definitely a read for everybody. It's from 13 to 18, and we talk about a lot of different stories in here, a lot of different people I was able to meet throughout the book. Some people that, I think about really deeply still till this day, different characters I came across down there. With that being in a hurricane, I really hope that no one interprets this story to be like I'm trying to like dramatize my life or anything like that, or, think that, I'm trying to do this for any other motive other than, I had a story to tell and I wanted to write it. So that's just really what it was. And yeah.